We'll move on to our workshop speaker, Ms. Alifiya, Global Sales Growth Authority, driven by a mission to help CEOs, entrepreneurs, and sales managers. So she's the right person for our Founders Club, win profitable clients consistently, even in the tough time, and help business owners enjoy the stress-free time they deserve. She's the founder and Chief Strategy Officer of Rooftop Sales and Strategy Coach, 10X CEOs. She helps SME business owners who are struggling with low revenue to create a sales blueprint that guarantees to double your revenue within 1 year for less than $500. She's a member of 2 Toastmasters Club in D105 Dubai Toastmasters and current president of the Podcasters Toastmasters Club. So everybody, please join me in welcome Ms. Alifiya Sura to the stage. Alifiya, the stage.
Thank you, Karuna. Can you all hear me? Yeah, good. Awesome, brilliant. So let me start with this question. How many of you or businesses have solutions to influence and impact business? Since this is a Founders Toastmasters Club, I understand most of us are business owners out here, right? So how many of your businesses have solutions that are created to impact and influence lives? Show of hands to me. Yeah, 2 hands. All right, great. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. And how many of you have probably joined Founders Toastmasters Club to actually become world-class speakers? Show of hands. Few of you, right? Okay, awesome, brilliant. Now, just visualize this, okay? So do this with me. So conventionally, we are all Toastmasters, and I understand most of us are very, very senior Toastmasters in this group. So conventionally, when you speak at speaking platforms, like events or meeting rooms or conventional auditoriums, what happens is you speak once, and that impact and that influence that you're creating remains within those rooms. You speak once, and then everyone that attended that meeting that particular day got impacted, they learned, they influenced, right? Now visualize this. What if we could all speak only once, but then impact and influence people who were even not in that room? What if you could just speak once, but that impact and that influence continues multiple number of times all over the world, beyond borders. In fact, it could even continue after you're gone. That could become your legacy. So what's your identity? What's your mission? What's your purpose? And that influence and that impact. And as business owners, whatever business you're in, that solution needs to be solving problems. Am I right? And if that solving problem is communicated one time, today people are leadership coach, Michael, right? I mean, how many times do we have to repeat instructions to our teams? You could have an internal digital content communication. So this is the next level of communication that we at Podcasters Club talk and promote, because it's the next level of communication that we're talking about. Can you speak once and continue inspiring, educating, teaching, influencing for an entire lifetime, and a lifetime even after you're gone? So with that note, I want to thank Bharat for inviting me. And it's such an awesome pleasure to be in between all you lovely, lovely, lovely people. Now, I've been given about a 15-20 minute slot, and then we have 10-minute questions. That's what I've been told. Now, just imagine if I simply write down my content and send it to all you people in this beautiful group, and then you can read it at leisure. Works? How many of you, tell me honestly, how many of you would actually, if I just write down this keynote and send it to all of you, how many of you would actually read? Show me a raise up, or show me a hand. Yeah, cool. 3, 4, 5, 8, right? Ainin is confirming that he's not gonna raise. So let's be honest. How many of you would 100% definitely not read? If I just write down this keynote and send it to all of you, how many of you would really not read? Okay. I mean, on a seriously honest note, how many of you are not going to raise your hands no matter what I say?
I would skim it.
Skim it, right? Excellent. Thank you for sharing. So the point is that reading is not happening. Being physically present is pretty much not happening. And then, the modes of communication, the way that people listen, consume content nowadays is different. Now, let me be honest. How many of you probably are multitasking right now? I could challenge people who are probably not on video are multitasking, right? I mean, some could be WhatsApping, emailing, eating, coffee sipping, or simply gallivanting around the house. But the point is, 3 out of 10 podcast listeners actually multitask. 59% are usually doing housework or cooking. 52% listen to podcasts when they are driving. 50% almost when they're cooking or baking. 49% when they're walking around. The statistics is awesome. And most of us like to multitask. Now, let me go a little bit deeper. As Toastmasters, have you been told to switch on our videos? Some of you have videos off, right? Yeah. Now, is it fair to be judged that we are not attentive just because the video is off? How do you agree? You could have your video off. You could be hiding behind your screen. How convenient it is, right? But you could still be, just focusing on the content, just using your ears as your mode of communication and, completely, you don't have to worry about how you look or how's your hair or you dress for the occasion or nothing, right? I mean, and we've had an example right now where there was a podcast done on YouTube, and then there was a podcast done on the podcast didn't necessarily work, but then of course the YouTube, you've got to do editing, you've got to do so much more, right? So really public speaking is the key. And the main intention and the main goal, if you focus on it, is to share that material, share that content. And it's much easier said than done. Because let me tell you, Toastmasters, everyone knows, right? The number one fear is public speaking, right? And the ahs and the ums and the grammarians make it even more tough, right? That we've had. And most people get a nervous attack. So imagine how tough can it be to show up, stand up, and speak up to people. And if that's really a strong message with so much of baggage, people will avoid going out and doing it. But what I really love about podcasting is, well, of course, we are promoting digital content. It need not be just a podcast, even if it's on a YouTube, even if it's on a blog, even if it's on any sort of digital stream of speaking. That's what the Podcasters Club as a specialty club promotes and talks about. But what I really love most about podcasting is that you don't have to worry about editing a lot, and you can focus on only one stream of speaking. We're only talking about communicating and your voice coming out with the modulations and stuff. You don't have to use the stage, the space, move in, move front, come forward, nothing, right? I mean, you can just focus on one. And honestly, it improves your speaking so much more because now you're only developing one faculty. Once you become a genius, once you become a master, then you get to the next faculty, probably the video or, but as speakers, when you have to focus on, and I'm not talking about gifted speakers, a lot of us will get nervous attacks. So let me tell you my personal story about how I got started into this awkward world of digital communication. All right. And my journey was never intentional to get into podcasting. I'd not even heard about it. I never considered it. Just a few senior Toastmaster friends came together and they said, we're starting a new club. Come join. And that's how it started. Before I knew it, they said, support the club, support the area, join as a member. I said, all right. I was so innocent and I was so ignorant when I joined this Podcasters Club. When I actually got started, The next I knew, I was given a speech slot. And I was like, what? And then suddenly I realized that I'm supposed to present this speech slot in some sort of a digital form of communication. I literally had a nervous attack. I was like, I panicked. My technically underqualified brain really felt foolish. And I was like, how am I going to go and create anything? I can barely get done with my speeches for a normal Toastmaster meeting. That's already such a big stress on me, right? I mean, now you want me to go and create a digital content, and I'm like, God, I didn't really sign up for it. Do you know what I called my channel? My podcast channel, what I had to call it? I called it the accidental podcast because it wasn't intentional. The only thing I did was join the club. And then, of course, with the help of the coaches that the Podcasters Club had, with the help of the mentors, they gave me the feed forward, they gave me tools, they gave me the equipment, they guided me all over. And that's how I came out with. And then what's the first topic? What do you do? I mean, everybody's about what should the channel be about? And that's the biggest question, right? How many of you have that question on your mind? What should be the content, right? What should be the topic? I was clueless. So what I did is I took my next Toastmaster speech that I had to do, and I recorded that on the podcast. And I said, I'm going to get done with this one and never look back. I'll tell you a secret advantage. I did not have to memorize my speech at all. I had a perfect recording without any ahs and ums because I redid it like at least 3-4 times. But usually when I would prepare for a normal Toastmaster speech, I would have to practice it like at least 2 days before the meeting until my role is over. I'm not breathing. And I'm not engaging with anybody. I'm hardly talking because I'm like, can I get done with my speech? And then I start living a life. And literally the day that I have my speech in the night, I'm totally like clueless, like you're really on a panic mode, right? I mean, I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, guys. Do you relate, or you guys are too good speakers? Yeah. But this particular thing, I had recorded it beforehand. I had no ahs and ums on it. And I was completely focused on and I was literally reading my content when I did it. And it was like a dream. I come to the meeting, I'm having fun, I'm cracking jokes, and I'm like really cool and talking to everyone. And I don't have to worry about being the next speaker on the slot. It was so much easier. And then this is how you got hooked. Because what Connie already said, and Choi, what you already said was really true. You don't have to edit anything, and you don't have to sit and memorize anything, and you can just really look at what you're writing. So no wonder today in 2021 there are over 2 million podcasts. There are about 48 million episodes that are there, and it's growing at the rate of 62% year on year. It's amazing. And so with this, it's all over like 155 countries and so many 700 or 1,000 active podcasts. And it's a new stream of listening. The most important being, it does not take a lot of bandwidth. You can be listening, you can download it. It does not take a lot of storage space like a YouTube video would take normally. So it's less on storage, it's less sucking bandwidth when your listeners are listening, and it's so easily accessible, and you're only listening when you're jogging, you're multitasking. Research has already shown that the maximum form of completion of consumption of a content is on a podcast when you're only listening. That's why audiobooks are actually consumed 100% if you're only listening. But while you're sitting on a reading book, or if you're even watching a YouTube video, chances of completing your consumption rate of your listeners and your audience is not happening. So with that note, I really want to encourage you all to try this mode of communication. As we're all here to inspire and speak and influence people, let's all give this one a shot. And how many of you are on with me for this? I want to invite you all to our club as a guest. You as Toastmasters, you can come unlimited number of times as a guest. We handhold you. and we give you the tools and we give you the feedback and we give you the communication, everything that you need to get started with your first podcast. And we have a beautiful evaluation platform where every speech, every content that is presented, any form, YouTube, blog, the next level of communication is what we're talking about, where you put in that effort one time, but it outlives your life. And that's how powerful this form of communication can be. And we've all seen in COVID, the entire world shut down, but the internet took over. And that's what we're talking about. So it need not be really good, even if you're just leaders and you want to set out instructions and, training, just set off, what to do, not to do for new employees or new whatever, record it and keep an internal library of your content. You're never going to have to repeat that instruction again and again. It's about creating systems. And as business owners, everything you do should be done only once. You don't want to have repetition because you want to keep moving on. Okay. So with that note, how many of you are going to join our meeting at least once as a guest? Yeah. And if you want to get started on your journey of podcasting, please allow us to help you. We want to be the place where you do your first podcast. We want to be the one that helps you with your starting of your journey, because once you get started, you're never going to stop. And then you'll be equipped to do it yourself forever. Okay. So especially pathways, level 4, take podcast as that one where you're doing your next level. And for that level 4, come take an appointment from our VPE and allow us to be the place where you present your level 4 content as a podcast. Okay, so with that note, let me keep it open for questions. I've not had to go very technical to detail, but it's more about understanding the value of podcasting in this new world of communication.
May I ask a question to you, Alifiya?
Yeah, sure, and please do.
Well, thank you very much for such an enriching conversation. Wonderful, lot of learning. I was fascinated, and you showed the epitome of excellence, certainly. I loved it.
Thanks for that.
My question is that how frequently one does it? Once in a week, twice in a week, or what is the sequence? What is the frequency?
So I think that is absolutely up to the content and up to your flexibility that you want to do. What's your goal? What's your objective? Ideally, to your listeners, having a schedule is very important. So if you want to tell them, I'm going to do it in the first week of the month, I'm going to do it every day in the month, I'm going to do it once every week on a Sunday, whatever you do, keep that consistency and never lose that consistency. But if it's just a hobby podcast, just do it for yourself, right? So then you're not really looking at launching professionally or whatever. So that hobby podcast is cool, then, it's just a hobby podcast. But if you're going in professionally and you're looking at, then you need to tell your listeners when to come back for more.
All right. Thank you so much. One more quick one. How did you decide your target audience?
Well, honestly, my podcast is a amateur one, to be honest. I just started, all my Toastmasters speeches are on a podcast. So I put my it's called Just for Laugh for Toastmasters, because I've taken the humorous pathway. And I'm putting all my Toastmaster 7-minute speeches into a podcast because I had no idea what I'm going to do. I will want to make one for sales because I'm a sales, I'm into sales and sales training and all that, but I would want to create one for sales. But at this moment, I have all my Toastmaster speeches are on the podcast. I'll share that with you guys and, look at it, some fun for it.
Alifiya, I would just like to ask a question. I'm doing a workshop in the next coming days. Yes, in 22 years, I have done innumerable workshops, but that time there was no podcast and no Zoom and nothing. It was just physical. Now that we have got into this, I want to try. So could my workshop, which is happening, can be converted into a podcast, and how do I do it?
100%. Even this meeting can become a podcast. Anything which has an audio recording can be a podcast. So normally, So in Dubai Toastmasters Club, when we did our newsletter, we said, you know what, people consume content in a different manner. Some like to read, some want to listen, some want to, watch, right? So the same article in the newsletter, we had 3 icons down. One, which was an audio recording, so you can listen it whenever you want. You can have a YouTube, which people, if they want to do a video, because that wasn't something that easily got done. Not everyone was comfortable getting on a video. And again, video, you have, 30 seconds to judge, right? And just from the way you look and all, you don't want people to influence your content, your material from the way you judge, where you look or whatever. So you don't need to look the part, right? So we are very passionate about podcasts because listen to the bloody material that I'm talking about. Don't get influenced by how I'm looking, what skin of color I am, or what, colors my hair or anything like that. So let's be extremely non-biased and, that sort of a thing. And then, of course, we also had the article written. So that was, so people listen. So in podcast, the only thing you need is an audio file that you upload on Anchor. Anchor is the most easy for dummies podcast tool. And anybody who is from a second grader can just, get started. It's so simple. If you know how to, switch on a computer and use any app in an Apple, any app or any game you've ever played with the touch, this thing, you'll be able to run a podcast like even Choi clearly said. And it's very, very easy. It's got music, it's got the background, everything. It's got everything you can just think about. Get started. Don't have complaints. Just get started. Plunge in. Then you keep improving yourself. Just plunge in. And what happens with Toastmasters environment? Here we are to learn and fail forward, right? So present it within the club and, don't even launch it in the public. Just record it, present your material within our club, take evaluation, apply it, come back, improve it. And you don't need to, how scary would it be to launch your podcast out in the public domain? People who's going to really, but come into the safe environment, come and present your content here, take evaluation and go improve it. That's it. All you need to do is do it within closed doors. And then when you're confident, when you're sure, go out and publish it.
Thank you. Thank you for it. I must try this.
Thank you, Vidya. Next question, I see Manju had raised her hand. Manju, do you want to ask your question?
No, I'm fine looking at the time constraint. I've already mentioned that I'll meet her privately.
Okay, I'm going to share details of our guest group. So in the future meetings and stuff, they're always posted in our podcasters guest group. So I invite you all to please join. And we have a digital hack in every meeting. So every meeting, we have an education session. Each and every meeting of our podcasters club, we have a digital hack education session, which is by experts from the industry who have got like 200 episodes of podcasts. And, we invite, I'm going to invite Koi next time as well. So we always have professional podcasters who come and give how to increase money, how to get money from it, how to get visibility, whatever, different sort of what tools to use, how to mix audio, how to mix video, voice, everything. So every meeting we have an education session, not only about podcast, about digital lines of communication. So even if you're writing a blog, how to share it on social media, how do you do it on LinkedIn and whatever, how do you share it in so many platforms and stuff like that. So there's so much happening. So join our meetings, just even as guests. You don't even need to join as a member.
Wonderful. Yeah, Alifiya, I think there's no more question. And do you have?
I have a question.
Go ahead, Bharat.
Okay, Bharat, go ahead.
Bharat is muted.
Your audio.
Okay, we have 3 more minutes to go. And my question is, first of all, thank you, Alifiya. Your club is, I think there is no echo. Is my voice clear?
Yeah, we can hear you, Bharat.
There is no echo, though, no feedback there, because I'm 2 devices.
No echo, no echo.
Okay, so thank you, Alifiya, for joining us today. And I can vouch for Podcasters Club. I have attended at least 5 meetings. I've learned so many hacks, but of course, I need to go again and again and remember those hacks. My question to you today, as the club sponsor and charter member of Founders Toastmasters, I have a vision. We talk about business, we talk about social media, we talk about digital communication. I believe charity begins at home. So if I want my members, my entrepreneurs to start earning from digital communication, I want Founders Toastmaster creating so much content to have a YouTube channel or other means of podcasting and monetize it so that our members are there for life. We don't have to pay our membership fees. I am newly appointed VPN for this. I'm additional charge for this. And getting members is such a crazy thing. If the members don't have to renew their membership fees, my club would have 500 members from different parts of the world. And
So,
everyone
Bharat, your
would be
question
fighting
is how to
for that sweet
monetize,
spot.
is it? Now, what is your question, Bharat, to this?
Monetize. How do
Okay,
we monetize?
Alifiya, can you explain how to monetize?
So to monetize, normally, it's a lot of work. It doesn't come easy, and it comes over time, really. But if you have about 10,000 odd episodes and viewers, 10,000 viewers to your episodes, that's when it starts. You can make about $900 a week. So there are a lot of people who are making like 75,000. The Joe Rogan show makes about $300,000 a month from monetizing. But of course, it needs viewers and it needs marketing and stuff like that, which happens eventually anyway. So even if you just start regularly posting your meetings, if you want to increase the episodes, make every speaker as a separate, so for example, this section, you can be a separate. So every meeting alone will have at least 5 or, whatever as this thing. And that can be a way you can increase the amount of episodes and have more viewers and have more this thing. I feel Toastmasters membership, to get membership, is because it's a not-for-profit and it adds so much more value compared to what people actually pay. If it reaches out to the right people, you should never be worrying about membership in Toastmasters. If your meetings are valuable and if it's giving a lot of value for the people, I think this is one of the most it's a gift for people that come on board to this platform. So just keep doing valuable meetings and keep adding value to the people, and it will churn and it will grow for sure.
Karuna.
Thank you. Thank you, Alifiya. Go on to the table topic. If I think our guests have had time to the Q&A, and if you want to give any suggestions to Alifiya, please free to text in the chat box to Alifiya and your suggestions on improvement or encouragement to Alifiya. You can use the text box.